Just a reminder, this is for the maths methods people, not really a further maths video. This is part 2. If you haven't seen part 1, go back. All right, each one's getting harder here. So this one divided by this one, you can see that we've got a missing x power here. We've got power 3, power 2, where's the power 1? And then we've got the power 0, so we're going to make sure we add that in when we do our long division. So x cubed minus 3x squared plus 0x, that's that missing term, plus 1, and we're dividing by 3x minus 1. Some lovely fraction work heading your way here because we've got to get this to match to this. So the way to do that is to think it as division. So it's x cubed divided by 3x, yeah? So that becomes squared, that disappears. So you end up that your number you need up here is x squared over 3. So multiplying the x squared over 3 times both terms here, you will get obviously x cubed, because that's what you're aiming for, minus x squared over 3. And then you've got to do a subtraction, noting that 3, if you think about this, 3 is just 9 over 3. This is minus 9 over 3 because it's minus 3. That equals minus 3. So there's just little side workings I've got here on the right. And so we've got minus 9 over 3 minus negative 1 over 3. So you end up with minus 8 over 3x squared. Then we're going to bring down the plus 0x. Let me just clear this mess up here. And so now we've got to get this to match that. So what you've got to do is a bit of division again. So you've got minus 8x squared over 3, and you're dividing by 3x, which means you can just shove it under the bottom here and just say times 3x like that. That's the same thing as what we're doing. And then you just do your cancellings. So obviously we can get rid of an x, and then so you end up with minus 8x over 3 times 3, which is 9. So that's why we get minus 8x over 9. So we're doing minus 8 over 3x squared, and then minus 8x over 9 times minus 1 is minus 8 over 9x. Am I getting that right? Okay. Then we got to do the subtraction, this minus this. And so when you do that, you'll actually flip it over. And so that becomes just 8 over 9x. Oh, sorry, that's a positive. That becomes a negative. Got to make sure that I get that right. Plus the 1, because that was a negative times a negative. That should be a positive. So now it's 0 minus positive 8 over 9x gets us minus 8 over 9x plus 1. Whew. So we're then going to take this and make it match that, and to do that we're going to then do a division. So you've got minus 8x over 9 divided by 3x, so that's times 3x on the bottom. The x's cancel out, so you get minus 8 over 27. So minus 8 over 27 goes up here, and then get this right this time, negative times a negative gets me a positive. So I get minus 8 over 9x plus 8 over 27. And if I do a subtraction, the last subtraction of this one minus this one, I'm just going to squeeze it in here. So your remainder is going to equal 19 over 27, because 1 equals 27 over 27. So if you do 27 over 27 minus 8 over 27, you get 19 over 27. Fun times with fractions. So your remainder is 19 over 27, but you're still trying to divide by this, and just as I was saying over here, you just, when you divide, you just shove it under the denominator and make it a multiply instead. You're going to then keep that, and it'd be 3x minus 1, and I've got to make sure I put a little plus symbol in there because it was a positive number, and that's your final answer. Whew. Now let's do it via synthetic division. Now there's a new trick we got to learn with synthetic division here, which I'll just show you. So again, we've got to take the coefficients. We got 1, minus 3, 0 hidden in there, and a 1. So that's what we're going to do. 1 minus 3, 0, 1. Now we've got this thing of 3x minus 1, and normally you'd think, oh no, we go straight to positive 1, but no, this is actually, this equals 3 times x minus a third. Yeah? So that means we're going to put a third here, but later on we're going to have to deal with this 3. All right, so just remember we're doing exactly what we did before. We've just done a little bit of a factorizing, taking the 3 out at the front. That gets us minus a third, and then we just flip that sign from minus a third to positive a third, and then we just do what we've done before. We bring the 1 straight down. Then we do the 1 times a third. That gets us a third. And then 3 minus a third is minus 8 thirds, because 3 is 9 thirds. Then you've got to do minus 8 thirds times a third. That gets us minus 8 over 9. Then we add those, so you get again minus 8 over 9. Then you do this one times this one. So again, you just remember 1 times 8 is 8, negative times a negative is a negative, and 3 times 9 is 27. So that's why you get up here minus 8 over 27. Add those up, remembering that 1 equals 27 over 27, as we said before. So that's 27 minus 8, which is why you get a positive 19 over 27. Now, you might be looking at this going, hang on a minute, I've got a 1 here, and I've actually got a third over here, yeah? So remember this 3 we had up here? We're then going to take each of these 3 numbers, not the remainder, these 3 numbers have got to be divided by 3. So 1 divided by 3 is a third. That's going to be minus 8 over 9, minus 8 over 27. Yeah, that's our new numbers. So now we've dealt with that 3. We can then say, well, we can. This is our remainder, and this is my 0 power, 1 power, 2 power. So that's going to be x squared. That's going to be x, and then we got plus 19 over 27, still trying to divide by 3x minus 1. So we got the same answer here as we did over here. That little trick was that 3 part here, which then you just deal with right at the end. Personally, I still think the synthetic division is winning on this one. Okay, again, this is the answer we got. You could have written it this way. So x squared over 3 is exactly the same as 1/3 x squared. You can take these numbers and put them up onto the numerator, like I've done on the top one. Just want to make sure that you understand that those are exactly the same things. And again, you can see the calculator's done weird things. You've got x squared over 3, like it, minus 8x over 9. Look at the dot between there. You don't need to put the dot there. And then they've taken the remainder part and put it in there because it's got an x, and you see you've got this 27 dot brackets, 3 dot x minus 1 close brackets. You don't need those dots. And then you've got your minus 8 over 27 here. Okay, an extra complexity. So we've got x squared minus x plus 1 is our divisor. So we've got 3 terms here. So let's see how we cope with that. Let's do long division first, and it's going to be long because this is very long. Now remember, if you've got 3 terms here, then your remainder, if you have a remainder, is going to be 2 terms, because you can see you've got an x here and an x squared. They're not going to match up, are they? So here we go. We're going to take this whole thing, 4x to the 5 minus 2x to the 4 plus 7x cubed minus 4x squared plus 6x minus 1, all divided by x squared minus x plus 1. And do what we normally do, but you've got an extra long bit here. So we've got to get this to match with this. So if you do 4x to the 5 divided by x squared, you can see you get 4x cubed. So our first one is 4x cubed. So we get 4x to the 5. And then we're going to multiply that by the minus x. So you end up with minus 4x to the 4. But then you've also got to multiply it by the plus 1. So you get plus 4x cubed. So now you're subtracting the three terms. So you've got these three terms minus these three terms. So the first term cancels out because that's what we're trying to do. Then you've got minus 2 minus negative 4, which is plus 2. So you get 2x to the 4. 7x cubed minus 4x cubed is 3x cubed. What am I writing there? 3x cubed. We need a third term, so we bring down this term to here to get a third term. We got minus 4x squared. All right, now we've got to get this guy to match with this guy. So that's going to be 2x to the 4 divided by x squared. Cancel, cancel. They get you 2. So we know the next one is 2x squared. So you get 2x to the 4. Then you multiply the 2x squared times the negative x. So you get minus 2x cubed. Then you've got to do the 2x squared times the 1 again. So you get plus 2x squared. Then you do these 3 minus these 3. So first one cancels out. Plus 3 minus negative 2 is actually 5. So you get 5x cubed. Minus 4 minus 2 is minus 6. So you get minus 6x squared. We need to get a third term. So we bring this one down to here. So you get plus 6x. Whew. Now we got to get this dude to match this one. So again, if you think about 5x cubed divided by x squared, cancel, cancel, all the x's disappear. So you end up with just plus 5x. So then you end up with 5x cubed minus 5x squared plus 5x, because you're just multiplying all of that by that. And do your subtraction. So you should end up with minus x squared plus x, and then we've got to bring down the minus 1. So we bring down the minus 1, and then we've got to get this guy to match with this guy, and you can see it's just a negative, so it's just minus 1. So you get minus x squared plus x minus 1, which looks familiar, because when you do the subtraction, you'll end up with a remainder. You'll end up with a 0 here and a 0 here. So the remainder equals 0, 0, which is 0. So what we're saying here is actually that this is a factor of all of this. Okay, so that's doing it long division. Let's do it with synthetic division. I'll have to do a new slide. Synthetic division. So put our coefficients. So we've got 4 minus 2, 7 minus 4, 6 minus 1. And if we look at this, now we're going to ignore the x squared. We've got a negative here and a positive 1 here. So actually what we get is we're going to use 1 minus 1. So again, we've ignored what's happening here, and we just flip the signs of the coefficients there. So we've actually got 2 here. So we've got 1 minus 1. All right, so as usual, bring the 4 straight down. But we're going to have 2 rows here because we've got 2 numbers. I'm going to go in a diagonal like this. So the 4 is going to multiply the 1 and then the minus 1 in that diagonal. So 4 times 1 gives you 4. And then we continue the diagonal up here. 4 times the minus 1 gets us minus 4 here. Then we add down. So minus 2 plus 4 is 2. Now the 2 multiplies the 1 and the minus 1, but on a diagonal. So 2 times 1 gets us 2, and 2 times minus 1 gets us minus 2. And now we add down here, so that's 7 minus 4 plus 2, which gets us 5. Then we've got to do the 5 multiplied by the 1 and the minus 1 going on a diagonal. So that becomes 5 minus 5 when you're following the arrows. So then we go down this column, minus 4 minus 2 plus 5. That gets you minus 1. Then we're going to do minus 1 times minus 1. So minus 1 times 1 is minus 1. And then we go continue on the diagonal. Minus 1 times minus 1 is a positive 1. We add down here. We get, in fact, 0, and then we add down here, we get a 0, and so that means that as I said, this is a factor of all of this. So you can do nice long ones here. So the remainder was always going to be 2 digits because we got 2 up here. So the last 2 are the remainder with our synthetic division, and so that's going to be minus 1, 5x, it's positive, and then 2x squared, and then 4x cubed, which is exactly what we got before. So that's how you do it with synthetic division. And then, of course, after all that, you could have done it on the calculator.